Practice does not make perfect, but it does make permanence. These are the words that my violin teacher would say to me when she was trying to convince me to practice through middle school and high school. My violin teacher and my experiences in learning violin shaped my life and taught me the disciplines I know today. So I would like to teach you just a little bit about the instrument that shaped me and my childhood. Welcome to Anatomy of a Violin. Today I will be talking about the violin. It is a Renaissance-era instrument known worldwide for its clear singing sound. As a matter of fact, many historians agree that the violin was invented to reproduce the human voice. The three important parts of the violin that we will be talking about today are the body, the neck, and the strings. There is a diagram on the screen right now. However, you do not need to pay attention to it because we will be talking about these three things in depth today. The first part that we'll speak about is the body, and the body of the violin has its own important parts. Today we're going to talk about the bridge, the sound post, and the F-holes. The first part of the body that I will talk about is the bridge. The bridge of a violin is a piece of maple wood that holds tension in the strings. As you can see from the picture on the screen, it's lifting the strings above the violin's body. It keeps it clear of the fingerboard, which is the black piece in the background, and allows the strings to fully resonate without touching the violin. The bridge sits on 2 feet in the center of the violin body. You can see them in the photo. This allows the bridge to transmit vibrations from the strings into the resonating box of the violin. The bridge is also grooved to support the strings. It keeps them from moving around as the violinist plays. As you can see best in the 2 strings furthest from the camera, there are small indentations in the bridge that hold the strings within them. The next part are the F-holes. F-holes let the sound of the violin out of the body. Because a violin functions as a resonating box, the sound needs to escape from it somehow, and this is done with the F-holes. They give the violin a fuller, larger sound and allow it to fill the space it's being played in. F-holes have evolved greatly since the Renaissance. Originally, they were shaped sort of like an orange slice, and as luthiers, the people who make violins, experimented more and more with them, they developed into a C shape and then an F shape, which has been found to be the most effective shape. The last part of the body we will talk about is the sound post. The sound post sits under one of the feet of the bridge. As you can see from the diagram on the screen, there's an F-hole and then the small rectangle marks where one of the bridge feet would be. The sound post is underneath there inside the violin. It can't be seen from the outside, but its job on the inside is very important. As the violin is played, the sound post transmits the vibrations of the strings to the whole instrument, which allows it to function as a resonating box. I've said that a few times, but the sound post is what really accomplishes this because it connects the front panel and the back panel so that they are both resonating with the frequency of the strings. We'll move on now to the second part of the overall violin, the neck. And some would argue that the neck holds the most integral pieces of the violin. These that we will talk about today are the pegs, which are used for tuning, and the fingerboard, which is used to produce different notes. The pegs of a violin, as I said, are used for tuning. They are typically made of hardwood or ebony. They need to be a sturdier material because they go through a lot of wear and tear in their everyday life. The strings thread through a hole that is made in the post of the peg and then wrap around the peg in the scroll box here. By turning the peg, the length and tension of the string is changed, and that allows the violinist to change the sound and pitch of the strings. The second important part of the neck is the fingerboard. It runs the length of the neck, and most necks in modern day are made of painted hardwood. They were previously made of ebony, but a piece of ebony that size can be rather expensive. Fingerboards must be a hardwood or ebony to prevent erosion from the strings. This is because different notes are produced when the strings are pressed against the fingerboards, sort of like on a fretted guitar, but there's no frets. You just have to know where to press. Because of this, the strings are constantly rubbing against the fingerboard, and they're made of metal, so any softer material would be significantly damaged by this. The final part of the violin we will talk about is the strings. The strings of a violin produce the sound, and the two main areas of concern with violin strings are their material and their tuning. Violin strings are tuned to G3, D4, A4, and E5 if you consult the picture on the screen that's left to right. The pitch of these strings is important because it allows specific notes to be produced consistently. Unfortunately, violins are very sensitive to humidity and temperature. Any changes in these two factors can cause the violin to go out of tune. Because of this, violinists tune their instruments every time they play. Finally, the material of violin strings. Originally, violin strings were made of catgut. Despite their deceptive name, catgut strings were made of sheep intestines that were stretched out, dried, and twisted. In modern day, however, strings are made of a nylon core with tin or aluminum wrapping. Nylon, which is a synthetic material, gives the string flexibility, and that allows the player to create a warm, full tone. And the wrapping, which is typically tin or aluminum, creates a louder sound and transmits the warm tone produced by the nylon into the audience hall where the violin is playing. High-end strings today, however, are wrapped in platinum, which is said to create a stable, warm sound. Professional and famous violinists often use platinum strings because it gives them what they call tonal complexity, which is when instead of one flat sound, a certain note will have layered complexity to it, and is the desired result of many violinists. If you are interested in any further reading regarding violins, I can recommend some articles to you. One very interesting article on the evolution of violins and how they came to be the iconic instrument we know today is How the Violin Got Its Shape by Laura Gagel from the Life Science Institute. It's a great read on the evolution of instrument making and how it can be traced back almost the same way that human genetics can be traced. Two great articles on the more technical aspect of violins are How a Violin Works by Gina Kim from MIT or How Does a Violin Work by Parag McNeela from The Troublemaker. Both of these delve into the more technical aspects of violin playing, especially the one from Mrs. Kim. However, if you're interested in the physics and science of why a violin makes the sounds it makes, I recommend both of those articles. And finally, if you're a little more interested in the history and material science of violin strings, What Are Violin Strings Made Of by Violin Inspiration is a very good read. Thank you.